She chose the man her parents trusted more than me. I nodded and stepped aside. Time passed. Things changed. Now the problem isn't who she's with. It's what she saw me become after she stopped watching. I'm 31 now, but this story starts when I was 27. I'd been dating this woman for 3 years. Met her in graduate school, both of us studying late in the library, bonding over terrible cafeteria coffee, and shared frustration with our thesis advisors. She was brilliant, funny, had this way of making even mundane things feel significant. I thought we were building something real. Her parents never liked me. I came from a working-class background, put myself through school with loans and night shifts. Her family was old money, not billionaires, but comfortable enough that struggle was a concept they understood intellectually, not practically. They were polite to my face, cold when I wasn't around. I could feel their judgment every time I walked into their house. The breaking point came during a family dinner in March, 4 years ago. We'd been talking about getting engaged, looking at rings, planning a future. Her father asked to speak with me privately after dinner. We went to his study, all dark wood and leather, the kind of room designed to intimidate. "I want to be direct," he said, not offering me a seat. "You're a decent young man, but you're not what we envisioned for our daughter. You have debt, limited prospects, and frankly, we're not confident you can provide the stability she deserves." I stood there, hands in my pockets, trying to keep my expression neutral. "I love your daughter. I'm working hard to build a career. We know someone more suitable. A family friend's son, works in finance, well established. They've known each other since childhood. We believe he would be a better match. Does she know you're having this conversation with me?" "She will. We wanted to speak with you first, out of respect." Respect. The word tasted bitter. I left that night without saying goodbye to her. She called me an hour later, crying, saying her parents had sat her down right after I left. They'd presented their case. This other guy, his stability, his family connections, how much easier her life would be. Then they'd asked her to make a choice. "What do you want me to say?" I asked, sitting in my tiny apartment, staring at the wall. "I don't know. This is so hard. They're my parents. They've never steered me wrong before. They're asking you to choose between me and their approval. That's not steering, that's manipulation. They just want what's best for me. And I don't." Silence on the other end. Long, heavy silence that told me everything I needed to know. I think maybe I need to give him a chance. My parents trust him. They've known his family forever. Maybe they see something I don't. I closed my eyes. Felt something in my chest crack clean through. Okay, that's it. What do you want me to do? Beg? Fight for you while you're already halfway out the door? You've made your choice. I'm just acknowledging it. I'm so sorry. I do love you. Don't. Please don't say that. If you loved me enough, this wouldn't be a conversation we're having. I hung up, blocked her number, deleted our photos, spent 3 days in a fog of anger and hurt before I decided to channel it into something productive. I'd been working on a software project on the side, a platform for freelancers to connect with clients more efficiently. Had maybe 200 users, barely making enough to cover server costs. After the breakup, I poured everything into it. Worked 16-hour days, lived on ramen and spite, turned down social invitations because I was too busy coding. 6 months later, my user base hit 10,000. A year after that, a tech company offered to acquire the platform. The number they offered was more money than I'd ever imagined having. I took the deal, invested carefully, and started my next project. Update 1. 2 years after the breakup, I was doing well. Not just financially. I'd found a rhythm to life that felt sustainable. I was consulting for startups, investing in early-stage companies, had moved to a better city for opportunities. Started dating someone new, a woman I met at a tech conference who challenged me intellectually and didn't care about my background. Then I got a message request on social media. From her. My ex. I stared at the notification for a full minute before opening it. "Hey, I know it's been a long time. I heard about your success. Really happy for you. Would love to catch up if you're ever in town." I didn't respond. Deleted the message. But it lodged in my brain, this little splinter of curiosity. What did she want? Why now? 3 weeks later, I was back in my hometown for a friend's wedding. I'd planned the trip carefully to avoid running into anyone from my old life. But the universe has a sense of humor. She was at the wedding. A +1 for a mutual friend. She looked the same but different. Older, obviously, but something else too. Tired, maybe. Less of that spark she used to have. She saw me during the cocktail hour, her face cycling through shock, confusion, and something I couldn't quite place. "I didn't know you'd be here," she said, walking over with a champagne flute clutched like a lifeline. "Friend from grad school. You. Same. Small world." We did the awkward small talk dance. Yes, I was doing well. Yes, the weather was nice. Yes, the bride looked beautiful. She kept glancing at me like she wanted to say something more, but the reception started, and we ended up at different tables. During dinner, I noticed her checking her phone constantly. Her date, the guy her parents had picked, I assumed, wasn't with her. When I asked a mutual friend later, she told me they'd gotten engaged 18 months ago, but the engagement had been called off recently. Details were fuzzy, but apparently, it hadn't worked out. After dinner, she found me near the bar. "Can we talk?" Privately, we walked to a quiet corner of the venue's garden. She was nervous, fidgeting with her clutch, not making eye contact. "I owe you an apology," she started, "for how things ended, for choosing my parents' approval over what we had. That was 4 years ago. We've both moved on. Have we?" "Because I haven't." "Not really." She looked up then, eyes wet. "I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. I spent 3 years with someone my parents loved, and I was miserable. He was exactly what they wanted, stable, connected, appropriate. But he wasn't you. He didn't challenge me, or make me laugh, or understand me. Why are you telling me this?" "Because I saw what you've become. Everyone's talking about your success, your companies, how you've built this incredible life. And I'm proud of you. But I'm realizing what I gave up. Who I gave up." I took a long breath, choosing my words carefully. "You didn't give me up. You chose something else. That's different. And yeah, I've built a good life, but not because I was trying to prove something to you or your parents. I did it for me. Because after you left, I realized I didn't need anyone's approval to be worth something. I know. I see that now. Do you think there's any chance we could try again? Start over?" "No." The word hung in the air between us. She looked like I'd slapped her. "I'm seeing someone," I continued. "Someone who wanted me when I had nothing to offer but potential and student debt. Someone whose family welcomed me because they cared about who I was, not what I had. And honestly, even if I were single, the answer would still be no. You made your choice based on security and approval. I respect that it was hard for you, but I can't forget that when it mattered, you picked their comfort over our future." Update 2. She started crying then. Not dramatically, just quiet tears rolling down her face. "I understand. I'm sorry. I just needed you to know that I regret everything." I nodded. "I hope you find someone who makes you happy. Really. But it's not going to be me." I walked away, back to the reception, found my friends, and tried to enjoy the rest of the night. But she'd stirred something up, reopened old wounds I thought were fully healed. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 30-plus messages. All from her. The messages started apologetic, then got increasingly desperate, saying she'd made a terrible mistake not just 4 years ago, but every day since. That she'd broken off her engagement because she couldn't stop comparing him to me. That she'd been following my career, my life, hoping for a chance to reconnect. I blocked her number. Blocked her on every platform I could think of. Told myself that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, she showed up at my office. The receptionist called up, confused, saying someone was there to see me without an appointment. When she said the name, my stomach dropped. I went downstairs. Found her in the lobby, looking even more worn down than at the wedding. "You can't be here. I needed to talk to you. You block me everywhere. And because I don't want to talk. I was clear about that. Please, just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We went to a coffee shop down the street. She ordered nothing, just sat across from me, hands wrapped around an empty cup. "My parents were wrong," she said. "About you, about him, about everything. They wanted me to marry someone who looked good on paper, but they didn't care if I was happy. And I let them control my life because I was too afraid to disappoint them. I'm sorry you went through that. Genuinely. But this isn't my problem to solve. I'm not asking you to solve it. I'm asking for a second chance. To prove that I've learned, that I've grown. You had your chance. You chose. Those choices have consequences." She reached across the table like she wanted to grab my hand, then thought better of it. "The person you've become, successful, confident, independent. I feel like I could have had that life with you. We could have built it together." And there it was. The real reason she was here. Not because she missed me as a person, but because she missed the life she imagined she could have had. She wasn't in love with me. She was in love with my success, my trajectory, the validation of having chosen correctly. You don't miss me, I said quietly. You miss the idea of what we could have been. But that version of us never existed. The reality is, you broke up with me because I wasn't good enough for your family. Now I'm successful, and suddenly you're interested again. That's not love. That's opportunism. Her face flushed. That's not fair. It's completely fair. If I'd stayed broke, stayed struggling, you wouldn't be here right now. You'd be off trying to fix your broken engagement or finding another guy your parents approve of. But because I built something, suddenly I'm worth a second chance? No thanks. I stood up, dropped a 10 on the table even though we hadn't ordered anything. Don't come to my office again. Don't contact me. Move on with your life. I have. Update 3. She didn't stop. Over the next month, I heard from mutual friends that she was asking about me constantly. Where I lived, if I was serious with my girlfriend, what my plans were. One friend told me she'd posted cryptic things on social media about regret and missed opportunities. Another said she'd been drinking heavily at social events, getting emotional about the one that got away. It was disturbing, not flattering, not satisfying, just sad and uncomfortable. I'd moved on, built a life I was proud of, and she was stuck in this loop of what-ifs, unable to accept that she'd made an irreversible choice. My girlfriend knew about the situation. I'd told her everything after the wedding, and she'd been supportive but practical. She's grieving a fantasy, she'd said. Not you. The actual you moved on years ago. She was right. The version of me that had loved my ex died the night I hung up the phone and decided to focus on myself. I'd mourned that relationship, learned from it, and built something new. I wasn't that person anymore. 3 months after the office incident, I heard through the grapevine that my ex had moved across the country. Fresh start, apparently. Cut contact with most mutual friends. Her parents were reportedly upset about the move, which gave me a dark satisfaction I'm not proud of, but won't deny feeling. My girlfriend and I got engaged around the same time. Simple proposal, no drama. Just two people who'd chosen each other without conditions or family pressure. We set a date for the following spring. I thought about sending my ex an announcement, just to close the loop, but decided against it. She didn't deserve space in my happiness. This wasn't about her anymore. Maybe it never really had been. Final update. It's been 6 months since I've heard anything about my ex. My wedding is in 3 weeks. Life is good, better than I imagined it could be during those dark days after the breakup. My wife-to-be and I are building something real, based on mutual respect and genuine partnership. Sometimes I think about that conversation in her father's study. How small I felt, how powerless. And then I think about where I am now. Successful not to prove anything to them, but because I refuse to let their judgment define my worth. The revenge, if you can call it that, wasn't planned. I didn't set out to make her regret her choice. I just lived my life, pursued my goals, and became someone I was proud to be. The fact that she sees it as a loss is her burden to carry, not mine. A mutual friend told me recently that my ex is seeing a therapist, working through her issues with her family and her pattern of seeking external validation. I hope that's true. I hope she finds peace and learns to make choices based on what she actually wants, not what others expect. But mostly, I don't think about her at all anymore. She's a chapter in my story, not the whole book. And the chapters I'm writing now? They're exactly what I want them to be. Edit. To everyone asking if I feel guilty about not giving her another chance. No. Compassion doesn't mean accepting someone back into your life who hurt you. I can wish her well and still protect my peace. Edit 2. For those saying I should have fought harder for her initially, why? She chose her parents' approval over our relationship. That told me everything I needed to know about her priorities. Fighting for someone who doesn't fight for you isn't romantic. It's exhausting.